one. What is going on, beautiful people? First off, if you're watching this, thank you for supporting the Masterpiece edition of Black Wall Street, the board game, the best edition yet. And as y'all know, we have amazing artists from literally all over the world that have contributed their amazing pieces, vision, and kind of perspective of art into this game. With the youth leading the charge, we have with the Zoe Hunter, an amazing artist out of Orlando, Florida. Shout out to Florida. Thank you for the wave, Zoe. I see you. We have an amazing artist who just is inspired to create and it loves being creative. So, Zoe, please welcome yourself to the space, and you can give a short introduction, specifically how old you are and also what inspires you to create.
Well, hello, my name is Zoe. I am 18 and I am an artist. I paint, I illustrate, I do logos, and I am also unschooled. It's kind of like homeschooled, but cooler, I like to say. And I am currently living in Florida with my mom and dad, and I'm living a life.
Living life with the live too. Love it. Love it. So
And what
you
inspired,
oh
I'm
no, go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead, Zoe.
What inspires me is just Black people in general and the
Mm,
culture that we have is kind of hidden, but you have to dig deep to find it, and it's really interesting. And I like to paint that and draw it. So
love that. Love that. And you contributed a very specific piece that we'll get into in a second. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired this piece and who is this piece for? It's titled Freedom 1865, and you have a very strong, bold, beautiful, melanated woman right there. So can you talk a little bit about the piece that you contributed to the game?
yes, so Freedom 1865 was about really how it started is that my uncle sent me a Juneteenth flag, which I have hanging up in my room.
Nice.
And I looked more behind the Juneteenth flag and what it means and what it represents. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing. And I painted it, and my grandma bought it. And the the I'm sorry, flipping the colors.
There we
Sorry,
go.
the colors are like the red represents the blood that our ancestors shed for the freedom,
Mm,
and the blue, represents the freedom that we earned, that we rightfully earned. And the stars, like Texas, where it was originated.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the last of us were freed
yep,
in
yeah.
Texas.
Juneteenth. Right. We got
Yeah.
the notification, I believe it was 6 months after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1864. In 1865, the slaves in Texas were finally freed almost a year later. And then
Right.
another
Right.
piece of history that a lot of people don't know that affected people in Tulsa, Oklahoma was
Mm-hmm.
technically Oklahoma
Say that.
and a lot of the western states, they were
Hmm.
in Native American territories. So when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, it only freed slaves in US territories, not in
Mm-hmm.
native territories. So yeah, I appreciate you for
Wow.
highlighting that history.
Yes, of course, of course.
Wow.
You know, especially with the melanated skin, because I also have brown skin. You really
Yes.
see a lot of that in painting, so I wanted to put that in my painting.
Love it. Love it. So if this piece was for any particular person, right? Who would that person be? And it can be a group of people if you like, but who is this piece really supposed to speak to, supposed to inspire, and yeah, who do you want to get this message when they look at this piece?
Really, to be honest, I feel like this piece would be for younger Black kids,
Okay.
men, male, female, doesn't matter. Because a lot of people don't know about Juneteenth in our culture, and it represents a lot. And like a lot of kids don't know a lot about Black culture, and I feel like kids need to know about that. They need to know about, where they come from and, what their past used to be,
Mm.
and how we grown a lot from that. Uh, and just in general, it can be for anybody really, but I
Mm.
really want it to be for kids so they know, I am Black and I am powerful, like that.
Yes. Yeah, I love the details in this piece. Like, first off, like just right now, the eyes
Yeah.
just look fearless. They're looking right at you, looking at the future, looking at the
Yeah.
past. Like this, the eyes were just good to me. And then I
Thank you.
love oh, and then the earrings. I love how you're taking what the style, the fashion that we may be used to, but putting some positive affirmations in there, reminding people of the freedom that wasn't achieved until 1865. So I really
Right, right.
really love
Right.
the details, the strong shoulders, the eyes, the
Mhm.
powerful hair. Love it.
Mhm.
Attention to detail. Of course.
Yeah.
Can you talk about? I know scrolling through your Instagram. If you can give your Instagram handle in a second as well. But scrolling through Instagram, you were highlighted in some other pieces. Like your work is in other places as well. Can you talk a little bit, brag a little bit about other places your your art can be found?
Yeah, well, my paintings, three of them, they are now sold. They used to be in a museum
Mm.
called Bronze Kingdom in the Fashion Square Mall, right? Yeah. It was an African themed mall, African themed store. It was beautiful.
Museum.
It's huge. Well, they had a store too. They had
Yeah.
like a gift shop, and then they had statues and paintings and
Mm.
sculptors of different artists around the world, and it was huge. And I was the youngest one there. I was 15.
15,
I was
16.
15 years old when my paintings were in there. And the funny thing was, I wasn't supposed to be in there. Like, 5 people were ahead of me.
Okay.
And I knew a person that worked there. We were pretty close. And she loved my paintings. And I showed her what I was working on. I wasn't done with one. None of them were like, protected. And she was like, "Oh, we'll bring them in. I'll show the boss." I'm like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Bring them in. See what we can do." I'm like, "Okay." And so I'm like, "Mom, we gotta go home. We gotta go home and get these paintings."
Mhm.
And they were big,
Huge.
36 by 48, about,
Wow.
and they were long. And we came home and we just packed up the stuff when we left, and we came back, and the person that owned,
Mr. Bennett.
Mr. Bennett, is amazing. The person that owned everything there, he was like, "Yeah, I'll put them up." Okay. And then I was like, "Oh my
15.
gosh, I got my things in a museum," because I was like, it was a really big goal of mine, but that goal was supposed to be way older, like in my 20s. I wasn't ready to be in a museum when I was 15,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that was a huge goal because I was so happy. And then there was another artist there that was having an opening for his own pieces, but I kind of took over. I do, but really, the boss, this is our youngest artist here. She has 3 pieces that were already sold. 2 of them were already sold. And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, yeah, these are my pieces."
The
And
artist became her mentor. She became an
yes,
intern for
I
him.
became an intern for the
Mr.
artist that was
Bennett.
supposed to have the opening. We're still on good terms, no bad blood. But
Nice.
yes, it was in a museum. And
Your
then,
books.
my books, I have illustrated 2 books, 2 children's books. One is about a Black girl with an afro, and then the other one is called Buzz Leaves the Family of Colors. And the Black girl with the afro one was just amazing to work with because, one, it was a Black girl, and 2, she had a big afro. She had like a really big afro,
Mhm.
and she was actually based on a real person, the writer's daughter, because she was the only Black girl that actually, had a natural afro, and was really the only, melanin person in her school.
Wow.
And
We
I,
played in our band, our
yeah,
volleyball
our
team.
volleyball teams, and
And
things
they
like
would
that.
always say, well, where, that there's that girl with the
Yeah,
afro.
that
She's
girl
the
with the
black girl
afro.
with the afro.
Yeah.
And so the author wrote about it. I'm Zoe's mom.
Yes.
I'm to the side.
Mother's on the side.
But Zoe, that book really, it, and to see other black young girls get that book. The author showed Zoe pictures of when other black girls were presented with the book, and to see them be like, oh, she looks like me.
Yeah.
To read about how and how Zoe drew the pictures, illustrated the pictures. It was beautiful, colorful, and
Very bright.
very bright, right? And Zoe had another one. It's called Buzz Leaves of Colors. It's by another black author, and it deals with the colors of the crayons and their emotions. The author is a psychologist. So I mean, it's she has another book coming out that's about diversity of all colors and babies. And
it's really mainly about babies.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And so I'm real proud of her.
Thank you, Mom.
I'm really proud of her. And Zoe does logos. She doesn't really like to talk a lot about herself because art is just what she does.
I breathe it.
It's just, she wakes up to it. And she goes to sleep with it. And I was like, when does your mind ever rest?
It does not.
I feel you on that one, 100%. I feel you on that one. So, kind of a semi-random question, but tomorrow is Mother's Day when we're recording this. Obviously, your mother is right there, very excited, very proud of you. Can you talk a little bit, Zoe, about the support and role that parents can play if you have, a young artist, 12, 15, 18, like just the support that a parent could play in order to get into museums, get into books, and just give you that confidence as an artist to create like that?
Well, really what I can give to parents, like advice, listen to your kids. Really. Like if they're like, oh, I really want to do this, like, okay, kind of push them towards it a little bit, but like, don't force it on them. Make them like, you have a pencil, you have a sketchbook, do give them classes so they can get better at it. And if it's a hobby, it's a hobby. But if it grows, find more things so it can grow even more, so they can get into museums or so they can have their books published, It's really about communication for passions and for their future. Because you really need a good relationship with your parents for them to actually, listen to their future, and the support is just the top tier, it's the pillar for everything, really. It's the pillar for everything because of the support. Like, I believe in you, you can do this. You want to stop and push yourself, and you'll just, it's amazing how support can help you push through so much, because I wanted to stop a long time ago, but my mom was like, I can see you do this, and I saw myself, but I was in a, burnt out state, but my mom was like, no, you got this, I believe in you and I love you and I'll help you with whatever you can. And I'm really thankful for that.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Of course. You're the one that got me in this. It was great.
But, I saw Zoe's confidence. Zoe is an introvert. Being an artist is very a singular type thing. You really don't need nobody else around you or talk to anybody. So Zoe's very introverted in that sense. And so I saw the confidence in her just blossom the more that my husband and I, was like, that's why we unschooled, so that we can give Zoe the freedom to just immerse herself in her passions. And so when we did that, her confidence blossomed and she was able to try different things, and she was in a very secure atmosphere. My husband made a very creative, all kind of creative spaces for her. And, she was able to tell me what was an interest, what is a passion. And I know that or what is a hobby. And I knew that painting, that she went to sleep. I mean, the child would go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning from painting or illustrating, and then wake up at 10 or 11, going right back into creating. So I knew that that was something that was very important to her. And so I, being an unschooler, Zoe was in control of what she learned, what was the most important to her for her life and for her success as a young woman. And that's what she means when she says listen to your children, because Zoe was showing me her genius already. And it was up to me that either I looked at that genius and kept on going down the path of what society expects me to do, how you can be successful, or I looked at the genius she was showing me and I give her that responsibility to lead her own path to success. Because I told her, I said, as a person that, I had to redefine what success was, because society says success is you have to go to college, you have to do this, you have to do that.
You have to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Well, useful. Yeah. But Zoe told me, she said, Mom, I want to be a world-renowned artist. And I believed her. I believed in her. And so, I told her to speak that, so Zoe sets goals for herself. And when she reached that goal of having her paintings in one of her favorite museums, that just propelled her to be like, oh, I can reach these goals I set. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. She's and all of this, she can design costumes and sew them. She has her own clothing line in her mind for girls' dresses that she's going to do. She's been in a museum. She's done expos. She's a commissioned painter. Watercolor. She has her own watercolor postcards. I mean, she's done all this, and she's taught herself pre-algebra and business, math, and what she has is that we're game schoolers.
That too.
And your game, it goes in the line of business math, and so it's been an amazing journey with her. Now I'm happy that she's going on the journey of her own. So I thank you and your game for being part of our journey.
Of course, our pleasure, our honor. And what I love what you said in there. And if you're just joining us, we have Zoe Hunter. You can follow her on Instagram at Art by Zoi. And she was able to contribute this amazing piece called Freedom 1865, which can be found on the Masterpiece edition of Black Wall Street, the board game. But what I love that you said was you have to listen to your child's genius. Right. And for Zoe, it was painting until 3 a.m. For other kids, it could be playing video games. For other kids, it can be drawing, it can be writing, it can be rapping, it can be creating fashion. Like, we all have our gift that we just love to do at any point in time. And as a parent, I think the best thing that you can do is support that gift and figure out, okay, how can we turn this gift into a business? How can we turn this gift into a lifestyle for this young person, since that's where the energy is going? So final question for you, Queen Zoe over there. How did you know, or what about art, what about painting made you want to stay up until 3 a.m.? Because there's tons of other ways to create. There's tons of other ways to express yourself. What is it about just putting that brush on the canvas, about the colors, that you really just love?
That's a good question. I never asked that. I love that question.
Well, really, two things. So one was Bob Ross. I know it's weird. Bob Ross taught me that, you can be creative and also have like a chill vibe, instead of, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. Just do whatever your mind sets you to be honest. Like, paint a giraffe or paint a elephant on a ball, just whatever your mind comes to. And the second one is my dad.
Yeah.
He is an artist. He was a sketch artist. and he's the one that taught me the first time I started art. And really, he works hard, really, really hard. So he doesn't have a lot of time to do his own art. And I kind of paint for him.
Oh.
So because he doesn't have the chance to do it, so I kind of, oh mama, don't cry. So I kind of lived both of our dreams, because he wanted to be an artist too when he was younger, you know, and he wanted his art to be, you know, seen. So I paint with graffiti, you know, I paint with black art. I paint, you know, I sometimes paint abstract because he's an abstract artist, you know, and he's still learning, but really once he gets home, he doesn't, you know, immediately jump on a canvas, you know. He goes to sleep. You know. He goes to sleep, he wakes up, then he goes back to work. You know, he doesn't really have a lot of time to paint, and so I paint for him, you know. In my own way for him, for the both of us, really. Because he taught me how to be open and be imaginative and being creative, you know, putting your own way. And I look up to him, you know, and I want for him to see that his teachings made a good impact on me, you know, and it opened up a lot. And I thank my father. So he's really my inspiration for everything.
Beautiful. Don't
cry, Mama.
Mom's over there losing it, but
I know, it's so sweet.
Agreed. That was a very powerful answer, because we are able to live the dreams of our ancestors, the dreams of our parents, the things that they may have not been able to do, we are able to do. And I think that message is seen in this portrait right here. That message is seen in this painting. The freedom that our ancestors weren't able to have, the freedom to chase their dreams, the freedom to create, the freedom to have wealth, the freedom to have health, we're now able to have. So I want to thank you, Zoe, for that beautiful answer and for contributing to the Masterpiece Edition. Again,
thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
Of course. Can you give one more where people can find you, social media, website, one more place where they can find you and support your art in your future?
Yep, of course. Well, my Instagram is Art by Zoi, ZOI. My Facebook is Zoe the Creative, all lowercase. And I do have a website that's still there, but another one, you know, it's a little, but again, my website is Art by Zoi. And it's still lowercase, all together, ZOI. So that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Congrats. Thank you.
Going.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.